No, I don't think it's a dying art form, but I think the audience perhaps a spell has been cast on them by media, by literary efforts, this global village that's being created by the satellite. So many things that bring people away from the tradition, you know. I mean, the farmer's son is no longer the farmer. Similarly, the storyteller's son is no longer the storyteller, you see. So I think in that way, it's being threatened. However, not only is the African spirit of our people infatigable, but the traditions and the efforts of storytelling are untiring, you see. You may find a different costume, a different disguise, a slightly different twist, but if you look or you listen hard enough, you can always hear the origins, you know. You may find it in the brimstone admonishment of a Baptist minister. You may find it in the singing of Nina Simone. You may find it amongst the oral traditions of rappers. You may find it amongst people who play the dozens. You know, you may find it in nursery rhymes that a mother may tell her child. You will find it again in jazz music and wherever we open our mouth. The thing that which will make known to you its infatigability. Have you ever heard of Bilal?
Mm-hmm. The singer?
Interesting that you said the singer. But the first Bilal that our people ever heard of was Master Bilal. He was an Abyssinian slave who was given his freedom by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Bilal was a person who, even before the advent of Islam and finding Prophet Muhammad, he was heavily opinionated and convicted to the fact that there was only one God. And even when his oppressors and his slave masters, they used to take him and put him on top of a big rock in the Saharan desert, lie on his back, and put another gigantic rock on top of him. And sometimes they would stand on this rock, almost crushing his breast. And they would say, Bilal, Bilal, what do you say? He would say, Ahad, 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 which in Arabic means one, that God is one. Bilal was the first muezzin, the first caller of prayer to the Islamic world. Prior to Bilal calling the prayer, they used to use this device, a clapper. Or they would make a smoke signal on the field to someone and let everybody know that it was time to pray. So there was one time where, and this is a short story, the Prophet ﷺ had a companion who had a dream. And in this dream, he said that he found himself awakening in the dream, and there before him was a man in green robes who had a beautiful silver bell. And every time he rang the bell, it sounded so sweetly and so nicely as it tinkled. And hearing this ringing, the man in the dream said to the person in the robes who possessed this beautiful bell, is it that I could trade with you for this bell? I would like to buy it. I would like to have it. I would like to possess such a thing. So he said to him, why would you like to have this bell? He said, but it would be such a delightful way to call to prayer my people. So the man said to him, who was wearing the robes, the green robes, he said, but would this not be a better way to call your people to prayer? And he began to recite the Adhan, which is simply, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. Hayya ala salat. Hayya ala salat. Hayya ala falah. Hayya ala falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Now this adhan was I first came to know by my father and the mention of Bilal, my father. I mentioned to you that Bilal was an Abyssinian slave that was freed by Prophet Muhammad, who was cherished because of his conviction in the belief of one God, even under grave oppression. But Bilal, after this dreamer, who awakened in the dream, who talked with the man in the green robes, who had this beautiful silver bell, whom he wanted to buy, the man convinced him, or at least got him to consider another device or another way of calling the prayer, which that beautiful sound that you just heard. So after waking up from the dream, this person went to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "Oh Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I had this dream. It's magnificent. I heard this sound," and he began to relate the dream to Prophet Muhammad. Upon hearing this, the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Prophet Muhammad told him, "Go to Bilal. Tell Bilal to call this at the top of the Kaaba, to climb to the top of the black cube and call this at the next time for prayer." So we find here that an Abyssinian slave who was freed now becomes a champion in the religion of Islam, a black-faced man who calls all of the Arabs for the first time to the prayer. Not that they didn't pray before this or that they didn't have the culture before this, but the adhan didn't exist before this. And the adhan was realized in a dream, you see. But Bilal, when I was talking about the other examples of our strong voice, Bilal, it is said that when he called the adhan with such conviction and with such beauty that men cried, that tears would come from their eyes upon hearing, because of the sweetness of his voice. There's another occasion when the Prophet ﷺ went to Bilal, or he went to his people, after Allah or after God had conveyed to him in question, "Did you pray this last prayer?" So the Rasul ﷺ said, knowing that he had prayed to his Lord, we prayed. So God conveyed to him that he did not hear this adhan. So the Prophet ﷺ went amongst his community to discover why did not God hear the adhan. So when he came to the people, he had found that in fact it wasn't Bilal that had called the adhan, but it was an Arab who thought that in this case he should replace Bilal because he spoke Arabic more eloquently, and that because Bilal was an Abyssinian slave that he spoke Arabic harshly or in a dirty way or unrefined way. So he thought that he would be more suitable to call the adhan. So God conveyed to the Prophet that he did not hear it. So when the Prophet communicating with his Lord said, "No, but they did call the adhan," his Lord said to him, "He called it, but he called it from his face. He called it from his face to be seen of men. Bilal calls it from his heart. Go to tell Bilal, call this prayer, and only now can you pray." So this black voice has always been amongst us, you see, and you can hear the resonance of Bilal even today in the oratory of young black people, in their protests, in their statement of recognition, in their reclamation of identity. You can hear the voice of Bilal. So the black voice is not a new thing at all. You know, this is, we should call, I think was it Baraka who had a book called New Black Voices? Well, I think we should write a book called Old Black Voices, you know what I mean? But nevertheless, our voice has been, you know, reminding man forever, you know. So I think that storytelling being threatened by modern media, yes, it is a threat. But how many times has not a small party vanquished a large one? If you and I and the other storytellers that we know, if we keep doing what we do, we won't have to worry about it dying. We won't have to worry about its extinction. You see, just to keep doing what you are doing. Keep doing.